Hi guys, it's Mark here from the 1878 Club. Obviously, thank you so much for watching. This is our first video on YouTube. We are up so much earlier than we actually meant to be, so we were hoping to launch the channel at the end of October. Now, with everything that's gone on with the Jadon Sancho affair, with the state of our transfer window that's just closed, and with everything else just going around the club, I was kind of eager to kind of get our thoughts out there, and not miss out on everything that's being said, because I've got a lot to say about kind of the state of the club at the moment, where we're in from a squad perspective, from a footballing perspective, where we're in from a wider perspective in terms of finances and transfers, and what this means for the future. So obviously we will have graphics, we will have a better background, we'll have everything sorted in the next few weeks, but please do bear with us. Well, thank you for watching the first video. So yeah, like I said, the big reason for this one is in relation to the transfer window that's just closed. So I think we all expected Jadon Sancho as an absolute minimum to be coming in, given what's been said for the last 3-4 months. That transfer saga has gone on for, I mean, so long that it just seemed inevitable that he was going to be coming in at some point. I even held on hope until literally the last day of the transfer window, thinking, he's in the UK, there must be something going on. Maybe it's Ed Woodward's big plan, to kind of do a massive deadline day transfer, and that's going to be the big signing on that we've all been waiting for. Obviously didn't happen. I think there's a big issue now with that, in that that's really shown our hand, I think, to other clubs like Dortmund held firm. I think there was just absolute nonsense within Old Trafford to think that Dortmund, this massive club that has got form for buying players for not that much money, kind of getting them to a level where they're wanted by bigger clubs and selling them on for massive amounts of money. For some reason they thought that Dortmund would roll over and just kind of give us one of the best players in the world for less than he was worth. Let's be honest, £108 million is probably about right for someone of Jadon Sancho's level. He's a generational talent. He's someone that I can't think of another player in the world who is his age, plays that position and does it as well as he does. So if you want players that are good, then unfortunately you've got to spend the money. That's just how it works. So I'm really disappointed with that. I think we probably missed out on Sancho forever, in my opinion. I think if I was him now, would I want to do this again next year? Even if we went back in for him in next summer. If I'm Jadon Sancho, I've had my fingers burnt by Manchester United. They clearly don't follow through on whatever they say they're going to follow through on. So let's be really honest here. He was agitating for a move, like really agitating for a move. He didn't play in the last game claiming that he had a chest infection. He didn't have a chest infection. He was at Tammy Abraham's party. He's clearly absolutely fine. He was doing that to try and get a move. So he's not doing that unless United's told him to do that. His agent and United have been in contact. I think clearly what's happened is that the players follow through on his part of the deal. The agents tried to get his part of the deal done. Dortmund's set out their stall very clearly, very early on. If you want him, there's a deadline on timing, and there is a financial deadline, and that is £108 million. You're going to pay us that, or the player stays, and that's exactly what happened. It baffles me that Woodward thought for a second, this big negotiator, Ed Woodward and Matt Judge, thought for a second that that we'd be able to kind of somehow pull kind of their arm up their back and get this player off them for less than he's worth. What possible upside is there for Dortmund if they get £108 million on deadline day? They can't spend it, and they've just lost one of the best players in the world. Like what possible? I really don't know what the thought process was in the head of the United negotiators that thought, yeah, they're going to happily hand over this player. So I mean, that was a big disappointment. I think there's a real issue within Old Trafford, and that's to do with ambition. I think that I'd like to believe that the manager has ambition. I think the players have a real ambition, to try and get this club back to where the club should be. Because clearly, we're not the club we were 8, 9, 10 years ago. To be really honest with that, we're not the club that Fergie left. No longer exists. If we're being really honest with that, I think Fergie going was a big miss. Clearly, a manager of that magnitude leaving is going to mess up any club in terms of continuity. I really think the bigger issue was when David Gill went at the same time. I think that was a really bad move on the part of United. I think that should have been staggered to try and kind of bring someone in. If Edward would have had a year under David Gill, just to kind of see how things work and kind of see what a real negotiator looks like and how they handle themselves in world football. I think that would have been better. I'm certainly not blaming Fergie or David Gill for that. If United's hired someone to do this job who doesn't have the skills for it, then that's the club's fault. That's not David Gill's fault. That's not Alex Ferguson's fault. But yeah, it's so frustrating, just to see that we are floundering in the transfer market. Once again, we've very publicly named a player that we're going for, and we haven't got him. And it's embarrassing, as a club of the stature of Manchester United. when Liverpool, and again I hate to big up the Scousers, I hate the Scousers, but Liverpool, there was murmurings about Thiago Alcantara coming from Bayern Munich. There was no real rumblings from the club. It was just kind of media interest and everything. They went out and got him. Same with the players that they've got this year. Chelsea, similar thing. There was a bit of murmurings for a while about the players that they were in for. They've gone out and got them. So the whole this is all COVID related. COVID's hit us hard. COVID's hit every club hard, but we're the only traditional top 6 club who you look at and go, they've not really backed the manager, and that's something that we really need to be conscious of, because at the end of the day, them saying to us that COVID is affecting the finances, the Glazers are still going to take their dividend this year. They're still going to pull money out of the club this year. This isn't a case of United's so skint or poor, that all of a sudden we all have to pull in our purse strings. The Glazers aren't going to pull in their purse strings. The shareholders aren't going to pull in their purse strings. They're going to take their dividends. They're going to take the money out of the club. It's the football inside that suffers, and there is a cycle that's very obvious to see now. Once you've seen it under Mourinho, and you've seen it under Ollie as well, the cycle of, if we're in the Europa League, the club are obligated to spend big money, because the way that our kit sponsorship works is that Adidas can actually give us significantly less money if we fail to qualify for the Champions League for 2 years in a row. So what that means is that if we fail for 1 year, the club suddenly opens up the checkbook. We've got £150 million to spend. We'll bring in a Pogba. We'll bring in big name players, and Maguire for 90 million. The second that we actually get in the Champions League, there's no threat from the sponsors that any money is going to be lost, which for me is baffling to think that that's literally how we think as a club. We only spend money if it's literally to protect ourselves from our sponsors taking money away. Not, let's spend money for ambition, or, spend money to try and get to the next rung, or, spend money in order to try and challenge for the Champions League, which I don't think is possible under this ownership anymore. I don't think there's any possibility of us ever challenging for a Champions League while the Glazers and Ed Woodward are in charge. I genuinely believe that, unfortunately. So again, this was the Ollie did his part, is what's really frustrating. This was the one season where you can go, you know what, we probably didn't even deserve to finish third. Really, Ollie pulled it out of his arse a little bit, and the players pulled it out of their arses a little bit, and we got there, kind of from the skin of our teeth. And everything was really positive. Bruno had come in. Bruno had been a massive lift for the dressing room. Let's be really honest with that. Bruno did a big job for us in the second half of last year. And all it needed then, going into this really positive summer, was the club to back the manager. And so a ESPN article's gone up today saying that Ollie gave a list of a few players that he wanted. We got none of them. So the list was Jack Grealish, which was always going to be a difficult one. Villa wanted 70 to 80 million. That's not feasible. I get that. Jadon Sancho, obviously we've already discussed. The other ones were so there was Nathan Ake, who obviously went to City, but again, another one that we missed out on. And it's things like that where you just think, if there was real ambition in this club, Ollie would have given that list before the end of the season. And they would have been out there and done. This is what we do now. We hang around until the last week of the transfer window and start trying to nab deals. That's not what a big club does. A big club gets their business done early. The biggest. We'll talk about the players we have bought shortly, but the biggest one for me is Cavani. If Cavani had been part of our plans, that guy's been a free agent for 7 months. 7 months. We could have added him in the squad before the start of the season. If there was ever any ambition to go out and get Cavani previously, if he'd been a target player, if he'd been on Ollie's list, if he'd been anyone that we've been interested in remotely outside of panic buying to try and save our asses, Cavani would have been in before the start of the season. You could have had weeks with the players. He could have bedded into the team. He could have kind of really got comfortable, and you could have started the season as an actual Man United player. Now he's come in incredibly late. He's coming on deadline day. Obviously, he now has to quarantine because he's not been in England, so he has to quarantine for 14 days. So he can't play anyway during the next 14 days, which obviously international breaks kind of save that. But it just shows that there is absolutely no plan. That there is no plan at all for this. It's who can we get? Well, we'll try and get Jadon Sancho. I'm sure Dortmund will come down on the price. They didn't. That was it. Panic after that. It was clearly there was no plan B. The Ousmane Dembele thing, I don't believe that was ever a feasible option. I think the fact that he's got legs made of plasticine. The boy is injured more than he plays. but I'm talking like by a massive ratio. You know what I mean? He would have been fantastic in 2017. He's not. That's not a viable option in 2020, I'm afraid. So yeah, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. I think for any United fans out there, I think we're all in the same boat. We're all frustrated. The season's obviously started off really poorly. I think a few things that happened before the season started haven't helped. Obviously, the Harry Maguire situation in Greece. I think that's turned his head. He doesn't seem like he's focused. I think lots happened in the summer. The Mason Greenwood thing, the stupid thing on international duty with England, that obviously has kind of put a bit of a dampener on the start of the season. These things, they do hit the morale of the squad. Like when there's something that's negative out in the press, it does hit the morale of the squad. And the way to get over that is to go out and get a big signing like a Sancho, to really boost everyone's morale up. Sancho, listen, let's be really honest here. We've not had a number 7 since Ronaldo left. Michael Owen, Valencia, really? You know what I mean? Like these kind of players, Depay, really? They weren't United number 7s. Sancho was supposed to be the rebuild, the real thrust of the rebuild. You're going to get a number 7 into his world class, and he's going to be there for 10 years. He's coming in at that age. He's coming in at just the right age to become a United legend. He wanted it. The agent wanted it. By the sound of it, Dortmund wanted it before August the 10th. They were happy to do it. United messed it up. So so what happens then? We're scratching around for deals on the transfer market on the last day, which just shows piss poor, coordination from the club. Cavani, 33 years old. Yeah, he'll probably do a job for us. I'm sure he'll score goals. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a fantastic player, but the club are trying to paint it as if we've signed peak Ronaldo or peak, Ibrahimovic. We haven't. We've signed a 33-year-old player who's not played football for 7 months. Man United in 2020. That's what it is now. This is where we are, guys. Yeah, it's frustrating. So who else did we get? So we got Alex Telles. Alex Telles. Certainly not Tevez. Alex Telles. That's a player I'm really excited about, actually. I think he's a fantastic buy. I think he'll do really well. Luke Shaw is a good player, but he's not an attacking. He's not a wing back. He's a full back. And I think going forward he does get exposed and he doesn't get back quick enough. And I think Telles, from what I've seen of him, he looks fantastic going forward. I think he'll be whipping in crosses. I think he's the kind of player actually who will give Cavani the kind of service that we're not going to be able to give him on the right wing. It's kind of good that we've got someone there now who can cross the ball. Apparently he's a really good set piece taker just generally. Corners, free kicks, penalties. Again, I'm going off the YouTube here, but that's what I've seen. And he looks like a genuine class act, so I'm happy with him. We got Palestri, the Uruguayan teenager, for the right wing. So we've gone from probably the best winger in the world in Jadon Sancho. We've gone from that to an 18-year-old winger who has played in Uruguay. No one's really ever heard of. Let's be honest, I had no idea that he even existed before the transfer window. Before deadline day. Never heard of the boy. Seen the same 5-minute clips on YouTube that you've all seen. He looks alright. Is he going to come in and set the world alight in the Premier League? I hope so, but being realistic, no, he's not. So you're kind of setting that boy up for failure because he's coming in now. For all we know, he's the Uruguayan Dan James. I don't know any better. I'm sure not many of you guys do either. So I hope he comes in and does the job. I'm excited for the fact that he's a young prospect. In my opinion, we've got young prospects already in the club who could have probably done the same job that he's going to do, because I don't think he's going to come in and set the world alight. I don't think he will. So yeah, that's one. We've also got we got Diallo or Traore, whatever they decide to call him in the end. So we bought him from Atalanta in Italy. A deal that's going to be about £40 million after add-ons, which is a big chunk of money for an 18-year-old. Two things about that. Number one, I think that the fact that we spent that money on him means that we aren't going back in for Sancho. I think that that £40 million could have been saved if you just gone out and bought Palestri for £7 million, who's an 18-year-old winger, and you're confident in Palestri as an 18-year-old winger. Why are we getting Traore? So already the club aren't confident in one or both of these players. They're young players. You can't be that confident. They kind of come in inexperienced. They're going to come in. It's always a gamble. I get that. But the fact that we went out and got two 18-year-olds. Both for the right wing and no real experienced right wing cover just says it all, really. The club have no fucking idea what they're doing at the moment. It's baffling that any of these people can sleep at night thinking, yeah, I've done my job there for United. I've gone out, and some of the stories about Matt Judge and his negotiating techniques and his business practices of apparently he turns his phone off at 9 at night. Agents can't get hold of him after that. Players, clubs, everything like that. He doesn't do business after that. He's he's a family man. I get that. But that's, mate, you're working for the biggest club in the world. If someone in fucking Uruguay comes back to you at 1 in the morning, you answer at 1 in the morning, mate. It's that's the standards, and I think the standards are dropping across the club, and it's not good. But yeah, so we got him, and obviously we got Donny van der Beek earlier in this transfer window, thanks to Edwin van der Sar. I think Donny van der Beek is going to be a fantastic player. I think he should be playing now. I think he should have started at least 2 of the games this season. Yeah, I really got high hopes for him moving forward. But yeah, just I'm frustrated, guys. I'm sure you are as well. We're all frustrated. No one expected to be sat here after deadline day without a Sancho, without a centre back, without a new forward who's not 33 years old and probably past it. It's baffling. But do let me know in the comments, what you think of the transfer window itself. Do you think that we've done anything good? Is there any good business other than Donny van der Beek? Is there anyone who looks particularly good? Again, I'm running out of ideas in terms of what can Ollie do to try and keep things ticking over, because I don't know where the inspiration is coming from. Cavani is a brilliant player. I think he'll come in with some leadership. I think that's really good. Apparently, from what Gary Neville was saying, he's a real solid professional. I think he'll come in and show the young lads how they should behave, and that's actually a good thing, because I think we've been missing a bit of that. But yeah, I don't really know where we go from here, and I am worried for the season. I don't know. We've got a centre-back partnership who are leaking goals. I think even Eric Bailly is a good player in my opinion, but Maguire, since that thing in Greece has happened, he looks half the player he was. So I just hope we can find a partnership there. We'll probably let one of our best players go in Chris Smalling. As mad as that sounds, looking at how Lindelof, Maguire, Bailly have been playing, is Chris Smalling worse than all 3 of them? Really? I don't know. I don't know anymore. He did alright at Roma. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, it just shows where we are, doesn't it, guys? We're scrabbling around at the moment. We're a club in flux. We're a club in the middle of a supposed rebuild that seemed to be on a path. That rebuild's now been unhinged by buying signings that are way outside of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's wheelhouse in terms of what he's asked for. And it's papering over the cracks, in order to make sure that the Glazers can take their dividends at the end of the year unheeded. Let's not. So there is financial results coming out soon. They're going to look bad, and Woodward's going to use that as an excuse as to why we didn't buy Jadon Sancho. Do not forget that the same finances that come out will show that the Glazers have taken their dividends of 30, 40, 50 million pounds. You wait. So if it's that bad, if the club's in dire need, then the shareholders don't take a dividend. That's how it works. In any other business, if the business is in trouble, the shareholders don't take their slice of the pie. They keep it in the business in order to shore up finances. So don't give me that shit about anything to do with the club's been hit hard by COVID. Every club has been hit hard by COVID. Clubs have gone to the wall in the lower leagues that have been hit hard by COVID. We are not one of them who can't do things commercially to get ourselves in a position to be signing Jadon Sancho. So I don't accept that in quite the way it's being pushed out there. Thank you for watching anyway, guys. I'm not going to ramble on too much. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. We do really appreciate it. These videos are going to be quite regular moving forward. I'm going to make sure that I do a pre-match and a post-match video for every game coming up this season. I will also be doing these kind of one-off specials. If something particularly big happens, if we have a change of manager, hopefully not, if we have any kind of big news, I will jump on. Let me know in the comments what you think about our transfer window, about Ed Woodward, about the club at the moment, about where we are, anything at all. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Mark from the 1878 Club, and thank you for your time. Cheers, we'll see you soon.